Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a deep dive for you today that pulls from a recent news article taking us into the fascinating world of crypto.
Yeah, and a major company potentially making a big step onto the public markets.
That's right.
Our source material today, it centers on Gemini, the
Yeah.
cryptocurrency exchange.
Right.
And this news about their confidential filing for an initial public offering, an IPO.
Right. And our mission here really is to figure out what this filing actually means.
Yep.
We'll dive into Gemini's story, at least as the article presents it, and then kind of zoom out.
Look at the bigger picture.
Exactly. Look at the current market vibe that might be making this move happen, like, right now.
So get the facts, understand the journey, see the context.
You got it. Let's jump in.
Okay.
So the headline news, the key event the article really gets into, is this Gemini confidential filing. They submitted a draft registration statement. It's an SEC Form S1.
And this just happened, right? June 6, 2025.
Just happened, yeah.
Now, that confidential part, that's really notable, isn't it?
It is. What does that allow them to do exactly?
Well, it lets a company start the whole IPO process with the SEC. That's the Securities and Exchange Commission, of course.
Right, the U.S. regulator?
Yeah, but they can do it without immediately making all their detailed financials and operations public.
Oh.
You get to sort of hash things out privately first.
Yeah, it's like getting your house ready to sell, but behind closed doors before the for sale sign goes up.
Good analogy.
And the article also notes that the standard details, like how many shares they plan to offer, the price range.
Yeah, the IPO date.
All that's still up in the air, undetermined at this stage, according to the source.
Makes sense for confidential filing.
So who exactly is Gemini? For anyone who might not know, the article gives some background.
For sure. Founded back in 2014
Okay.
by the twin brothers, Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss.
Right, the Winklevoss twins.
And they hit a pretty significant peak valuation-wise in November 2021. The source mentions they raised $400 million in funding then.
Wow, $400 million.
Yeah, and that round valued the exchange at a considerable $7.1 billion.
$7.1 billion. That gives us a marker for where they stood at one point, definitely.
Exactly, a high point.
And understanding that high point is important because, well, the source makes it clear the path hasn't been entirely smooth since then.
No, definitely faced some headwinds.
The article notes that while they had around, 1,000 employees in late 2022,
about that.
they, like a lot of companies in the crypto space, went through layoffs.
Yeah, during the quote-unquote crypto winter.
Yeah.
That period of significant market downturn and price drops.
Wasn't easy for anyone in the space.
Not at all.
And here's maybe a really crucial part of their recent history that the article highlights.
Okay.
January 2023. Gemini ran into a significant issue with the SEC.
Yes, specifically concerning their EARN program.
Right, tell us about that.
Well, the source details the SEC's allegation. Basically, they alleged that this program involved the selling of unregistered securities.
Unregistered securities, so a major regulatory challenge.
Exactly. The allegation was they offered investment products that, legally should have been registered with the SEC, but apparently weren't.
That sounds serious.
It was, yeah. A big hurdle for them.
The article also includes a brief mention of a political connection. We should probably just note this impartially, just stick to what's presented.
Look, yeah. It states that the Winklevoss twins were significant financial contributors to U.S. President Donald Trump's election campaign.
How significant?
Donating $1 million each, according to the source.
$1 million each, okay. And the article adds a detail there.
Yeah. It adds that those specific donations were later refunded. Apparently, they exceeded the individual contribution limits.
Got it. Limits are limits.
And then the article includes a comment from analysts who reportedly view a Trump presidency as marking a turning point in U.S. crypto policy.
Okay, so that's presented just as a viewpoint from analysts cited in the source material.
Precisely, just reporting what the source includes there.
Okay, switching gears then, because the timing of this filing, it seems pretty linked to the broader market, right?
Yeah, the article definitely spends time on the current environment, suggesting why they might be doing this now.
What's the thinking there?
It states, this confidential filing comes amidst, quote, renewed investor confidence.
Renewed confidence. Why?
Well, partly because uncertainty related to things like trade wars has reportedly lessened. That's the connection the article makes.
Okay, so less uncertainty, more confidence.
And the source connects this confidence to a noticeable race for initial public offerings.
A race.
Yeah, that seems to be heating up, particularly after some, well, surprisingly strong performances by other companies recently going public.
Ah, okay. So others are doing well. Maybe it's a good time to jump in.
That seems to be the implication. The article highlights a couple of examples to show what they mean by a heating up IPO market.
Like who?
Circle, for instance. They had their IPO just June 5th.
Okay, very recent. How did it go?
Pretty well. The source reports its share price jumped, wait for it, 167% by the close of trading that day.
Whoa, 167% on day one.
Yeah, and the momentum apparently continued. The article noted Circle stock rose another 32.2% on June 6th, at the time they wrote the piece.
That's huge. Any reason given for that level of interest?
It does point to significant investor interest. It mentions BlackRock reportedly eyeing a 10% stake.
BlackRock, okay.
And Cathie Wood's ARK investment, considering a substantial purchase, like $150 million worth of shares.
So big names getting involved.
Seems like it. Then there's a second example cited, CoreWeave.
CoreWeave, right. What about them?
Using Google Finance numbers, the source points out that CoreWeave, which went public back on March 28th,
okay,
has seen its share price increase by 158% in just the past month.
Wow, another massive jump, 158% in a month.
Yeah. So those are some serious pops right out of the gate, as you said. So
the article uses these specific successes, Circle and CoreWeave, to kind of build the case for that renewed investor confidence idea.
Exactly. It suggests there's real appetite in the public markets right now.
Potentially creating a favorable window for companies thinking about an IPO.
Right. The picture painted is one where the successful recent tech or, crypto-adjacent IPOs are signaling to the market.
And maybe signaling to companies like Gemini?
Precisely. Signaling that investor sentiment is pretty positive towards new public offerings right now.
Okay, so let's try and bring this all together then. What does this confidential filing from Gemini really signal when you look at their whole story in the current market?
It's quite a mix, isn't it? You have a company that reached that really high $7.1 billion valuation.
Right, the peak.
Then faced the industry-wide pain of the crypto winter, the layoffs, and critically tangled with the SEC over a core product, that EARN program.
Yeah, that regulatory challenge is key.
And now they're quietly, initiating the IPO process.
Against this backdrop where, as we just discussed, related companies seem to be seeing significant success on the public markets.
Exactly. So what does that timing tell us?
Well, maybe. Perhaps they feel they've navigated the worst of their internal challenges, and they see this market window as their opportunity.
Could be. Despite those past regulatory issues, they might believe the current investor enthusiasm for companies in this sort of space is strong enough.
Strong enough to make a public offering viable, even with that SEC history.
Possibly. It certainly suggests confidence on their part, confidence in their ability to meet the pretty stringent requirements of an IPO review by the SEC.
Yeah, you don't file, even confidentially, lightly.
Definitely not. It really highlights that intersection, doesn't it? A company's specific journey, including its regulatory record, and how that intersects with the broader, sometimes volatile trends of the public markets.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, that sort of wraps up our deep dive into this specific news article.
Yeah, we've looked at Gemini's confidential IPO filing.
Touched on their past highs, that big valuation.
The challenges they've navigated, the crypto winter, the layoff.
And that significant SEC issue regarding their EARN program. Can't forget that.
No. And we've connected all that to the market context presented in the source.
Right. This idea of renewed confidence and those strong performances from Circle and CoreWeave.
It leaves you with a complex view of a company trying to go public after a pretty eventful few years.
It really does.
Indeed. And, given Gemini's past regulatory challenge with the SEC, specifically regarding the EARN program.
Yeah.
This raises an important question, maybe something for you, the listener, to ponder as you track Gemini's path forward.
Okay, what's the question?
How might that specific history, that EARN program issue, play a role as the SEC reviews this new IPO filing?
Will it be a hurdle? Or is it something they've successfully addressed in the SEC's eyes already?
Exactly. How much weight will it carry now?
Interesting. Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.